for joining me. My name is Moya O. And what we're talking about today, the idea that Black lives, and not only do they matter externally with what's going on that we see outside, it's an internal battle that we're fighting. It's an internal battle. Yes, I said it, internal. You're thinking, Moya, but all these people are coming down, our youth, they're really coming after us. It feels like we're being attacked. And in many ways, we are. We're being attacked, so we feel the need to really push back and go inside to come outside to do our best. So today's show, we're going to be talking about I love you. Does your child, right? And we're saying, wait, lives matter. I'm going to give you a list and we're going to do a rundown of Black Lives Matter and the newest news on it, because it's very important that we keep abreast with what's going on. This is something that's really critical to our time, to our children, and to really allowing us to do and live and be our best. But what we have to remember, family, is that we have to do it with us. It all starts. So here's some questions that we are going to ask. Here. And then I'm not connected. You're not connected. Okay. What I'm doing is I can connect back. We're simultaneously doing two shows, the audio and a podcast as well. So that's what's happening. That's what we're doing. Here we go, guys. I hope I am back on. Yes, I am. So for those of you that missed me, I'm going to recap it. I'm Moya Ojari. This is Black Parenting, and what we talk about here on this show is how can we parent our children to not only do their best, but also be their best and live their best. Yes, that is our role as parents, to really make sure that our kids have everything that they need. And I'm not only talking about academics. I'm not only talking about school, I'm talking about making sure that their teacher is cool. Which are issues. What I'm talking about is our role to make sure that they understand and know that they're valued. So on this show today, we're going to be talking about the implications of the Black Lives Matter on our children. What does that mean? Let's look at the thought of what does it mean to be successful, because that also goes into the Black Lives Movement. Feeling persecuted in our classrooms. The title of today's show is I love you. Do you know? Right? And what this means is we feel and know that we love our child, but are they feeling loved in every environment? It's possible. It's possible that they can really feel the nurturing love around them. It takes us to give it to them in the way that they really need it. And then from there, they're going to feel and look for that love when they turn and go around. But what's happening is we're looking for an external point of view. We're looking for it from someone to approve our greatness. We don't need that. We don't need anybody to approve our greatness. We can approve our greatness. And because we're dealing with children here, it's them that's starting to the whole idea. I'm connecting this back in my ears. I want to make sure that I can hear feedback, but it's just slipped out again. I want them to make sure and know that they have it. That's our role as parents. And that's why it's a challenging role, because it's us also trying to find where we fit in and how we can navigate our dreams, our greatness, our leadership abilities within this larger society. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to be comparing Jim Crow to the present in regards to parenting. Lastly, we're going to end by reclaiming our power. So let's dive into it. Okay? So let's talk about what's successful. Many times we have different feelings and thoughts about what it means to be successful. One of the things that I always think about is how can we do and be and live our best? And when we think of success, we really think of monetary wealth and we think of accomplishments and we think, but guess what? Not only can it be all of those things, it can be none of those things. What do I mean by that? Success really comes from our heart. Yeah, from inside of us. We know that we've been successful if we know around us are smiling. Why does someone around on whether or not I'm successful? Because people around you are smiling, that means you're giving them something to smile about, right? That means they're reflecting you. So if people around you are all miserable, what are they reflecting? They're reflecting you. So it's telling you to get your stuff in order. Because if you weren't miserable and you're around miserable people, guess what? You wouldn't be there because you're like, I don't need to be here because I'm not miserable. That's why it's important for us to really navigate and understand that. And then more defining rather, and then defined it, success for our children. That's the biggest picture here. That's our overall goal because the children were entrusted with us, so we have to on a path for success. So let's break down 3 ways that we can define success for our children. Number 1, when they do an activity, I don't want you to say, good job, I'm so glad that you did it. What is, start by saying, and then they're going to tell you, because we want them to define their success by them defining their success, not by us, not by teachers, not by a boss, not by a manager, not by their constituents, no one. We want them, their success, because they know what's in their heart and what they have come to give. So that's the first thing that we do. We add their success. My thing just fell out of my ear. Number 2, them projects and activities that slightly challenge them, that slightly take them over to what they really want to do, that bring them closer to where they want to be. That's what we do. Important. That's how we not only build their self-confidence, which is key, we also a success record. Isn't that magnificent? A success record. What this does, it teaches them early on that they can have a record. So when they go into the world, they start expecting success. And they're going to know, because these tasks were slightly challenging, that success isn't going to come easy. It's going to be something that we have to work at. And when we work at it, we'll get it. And then we perform our success record. Number 3, instill in them need to do their remember. The best is different at different times. When you and I are tired after a long days of home and we're we're like this. Yes, did you call me? Did you say my name? Yeah, because we're so tired. Like, mommy, Dad, I want. Your play might be a little different, right? You're not going to say, okay, go get the football, let's throw it. And you're throwing it full force. No, you might say, okay, let's go ahead and read a book. Yeah, because our level of us doing our best is very different at different times. And we need to know, respect that, and teach them the process of knowing and respecting their success and doing their best. So that's the part in terms of repetition. Repetition. Those are the 3 elements for today of how we can teach define success. All right. Now let's move on to idea of feeling persecuted in our classrooms. What does this and can this mean? Feeling persecuted in our classrooms. Feeling persecuted in our classrooms telling us that they really don't feel comfortable. They don't like something and they don't know how to say it. It's the child that really is struggling, right? And the child that also doesn't struggle. I remember I was in my senior year of class and I would go into the class and there would be a whole bunch of stuff on the board of what we were going to talk about that day. Because my teacher talked so fast, I decided to write everything down first to do what we needed to do. The teacher told me to stop that. He wanted me to write them down as he said them. I got so mad that he actually said. Now, instead of knowing my avenues to go and tell mom, because remember, I felt persecuted. I felt like, well, maybe I did something wrong. And that whole idea of me feeling like I did something wrong caused me to fail the class. When on my first test, I got a straight A. I was the only student in the class that got an A. That's what we're talking about in terms of feeling persecuted. And that's what we're talking about in terms of our children not feeling like they are worth anything. So the idea and movement of Black Lives Matter starts with us declaring to our children that their lives, something happens, they need to say something. Guess who that starts with? Yes, once again, it starts with us as parents. This role as parents is about to be a tough one. So get inside. But it's a fun one if we make it that way. The whole idea of so they voice, so they can speak up against persecution. What we're talking about is against injustices, against humanity, against Black lives, against nature. We're talking about using their voice, and their voice is going to be said in different ways. Their voice is going to be used in different ways. It might be singing, it might be photography, it might be art, it might be writing, it might be tap dancing, it could be anything. But what we want them to do is use their platform as a voice so it can be heard, so they can change how we operate. So this whole idea using our, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do, family? How do we get our children to use their voice? Because one of the things in our community is, while I want my kid to speak up, they need to know their place. Yes, while I want them to speak up, they need to know their place. It's a fine line. It's a fine line. And you have to really go by what's in your heart, because your heart is going to be the one that guides you, right? That's what we need to talk about. And that's how we need to automatically feel it, like, that didn't feel right there. But we have to make sure it's not an ego thing, right? We can't be, I told you to sit down because I told you to sit down. Stripping away that voice. I told you to get up because I told you to get up. But why, mommy? Because I said so. Stripping away that voice. Now, I told my kids, I said that you can tell mommy, you cannot tell mommy no. You cannot tell me no, but you can ask why. And that why question, why? And man, does it test your patience, because you really want to say, because I told you so, right? Because that's all we know. All we know is to say, because I told you so, because that's what someone told us. In actuality, what happened was stripped away that voice. So when I felt persecuted, especially by that teacher, I wasn't able to use my voice because it was just I told. In my heart, I felt it was wrong. But because he said, I told you so, then I didn't, because I felt like I was in the wrong, because that's how we have to scratch that, y'all. We have to reach out ourselves to go with the flow, be in the moment. Just be in that moment, because the reason why we're like, I told you so, we got to go to school, we got to go drop off dad, we got to go, right? Whatever that is, I got to finish making. And you keep asking me, why all of your shoes? Can you put on your shoes for me, please? Can you put on your shoes for me, please? Right? And what we need them to do is what we say in so many ways, what we really need them to do. Because remember, we're grooming young kids to be adults. We need them to use their voice to avoid this persecution, to avoid this persecuted society. We want them to be strong, like Serena Williams, right? Who's getting persecuted by her body image, but the girl is good at what she does. That's the best that we want our kids to reach. That level of someone honing their craft and taking it so serious that we can see it externally in their body. That is what we want our kids to emulate. That is a sign of greatness. And people are going to come at them and say something. But because they have a voice, they can stand strong in that moment and know that, hey, what you're saying is mean and it's not right, but that's your bag. You go to. So let's go to a tool in our toolbox of stuff that we can use so we can, as parents, take that moment to be in that moment. Okay? So what we're going to do is, when we feel like, in order for our kids to start building up their voice, and when we feel really stressed out, right, what we're going to say is, give me a moment. Because what that means, I just need a moment to give you a moment. Okay, let me repeat it. I need to get a moment to give you a moment. Okay? I need to, get this moment. I need to get myself together to give you this moment of patience and my ear so I can properly and adequately hear you. That's all we need to say. They might continue talking. They might continue speaking. Question. And you still take that moment. All right, Mom? Okay? Take that moment, Dad, and say, give me a moment. All right? And take your moment. And then come up to him, the smile. Yes. Yes. And it's not going to work every time. Every time you're not going to say, okay. Sometimes you're going to say, can I just get, give me a moment. It's going to be one of those. Okay with it. Be okay with that process. All right? Give me a moment. Okay. Practice it with me. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Yes. Okay. Come back. Take your moment. Come back with a smile. All right? Yes. 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 We have stuff in our toolbox. Parent toolbox. Parent toolbox. All right. So now we're going to go on to comparing Jim Crow to the present time in regards to parenting, because it's kind of piggybacking on what we were just saying, because I want to further tell you why this is important, that you take that tool that we just learned in terms of, okay? One of the things that really plagued us with Jim Crow, because remember, my whole thing, Moya's whole thing, is knowing that what we deal with is internal and what we see is externally reflected on our internal. Yes, what we're dealing with is internal. It's an internal view of what we're seeing externally. What does that mean? That means what we're dealing with as individuals and as a collective is a reflection on how we feel about ourselves. How we feel about ourselves is what has been told to us throughout our history here. right? Because we have a whole other glorious history in Africa, and we have a glorious history as well. But the history that's really we've focused on and that's really indoctrinated us into who we are is our history that we talk about here. And this is very similar to the history that people feel in Brazil, that people feel in Cuba, that, now the talks are opened up, in terms of us expanding and breaking down that whole idea of imperialism. So that's the part here. Really understanding so we can attack it and kind of get that whole idea that, if you want to call it this canker sore, this sore out of us, we want to remove this sore away from us. So let's look at Jim Crow parenting now, right? And I just want to really focus on two major things, because there's so many things that were really, really excellent. But we want to focus on getting this sore out, okay? There are a lot of great things that we can always use from our past that grandmama's mama's mama passed down to us, right? We just want to get this sore out. Two things that we really want to talk about and focus on. One of them being always from home. Yes, always being away from home. There were some times where there were some moms who were obviously in the house, but there was a whole group of moms that had to go out and work because that was the name of the game. If we're going to eat, mama's got to go to work. For a long time, especially emancipation, Black women have increasingly been out of the household working. So what does that mean? That means that we usually took care of everyone else's family, and by the time that we got home, we worked out what we had left in the gas tank to really work in what we have with our family. That's what it's been. And what this is really passed down to us throughout the years is, for our children, is I really don't, mama's out there working for him and she ain't really here with me. She ain't really focusing on what I need, right? And every time she talks to me, she's so angry and mean and gruff, or she's not there, right? Because remember, what matter. Does your child know that you love them? So what's been passed down to our family, to our children, is this whole idea of dismissiveness, right? Like, just get out of here, Joe. Oh, yeah, Joe, go ahead. And you're not really there. You're not really present. You're not in the moment. So that's what we really want to focus on, the whole idea of understanding what Jim Crow and this legacy that we see, especially in parenting, right? Especially in parenting. So what we want to do is really focus on being present, going back into that moment, that tool that we just learned, our parent toolbox. Is just, okay, and take your moment and then go on. Because remember, we're trying to have them use their voice so they avoid this pollution in their classroom, and so they feel and are successful in life. Because remember, parents, remember, family, we are leaders. We expect nothing less than greatness. And if that's the real, then we need to approach this like so. Okay? So that's why we need to be present and use our tool of give me a moment. The second thing being, what we really need to do, and you're going to have to, I'm going to get some stuff on this, is really telling our kids that, you got to work 2-3 times as hard as the white one, to get in there. You got to work 2-3 times as hard being Black. And on some level, what we really want to say, period, is you are going to have to work hard and stand up when you use your voice, right? You're going to have to stand up, and you might be the only one standing in that moment, but you're going to do it. Avoiding this feeling of persecution and using your voice, because we expect you to be great. Yes, expect you to be great. So we need to get it out of our vernacular and out of our blood and feeling, saying they need to be working somewhere else, when in actuality, they need to be working hard, period, point blank. Okay? That's what we need to tell them, and that's what they need to focus on. Because what they're doing is we're once again handing over our power and this external feeling to someone else who doesn't even matter, right? It doesn't matter how and what they're doing and how they might feel about something. We need to know, and we need our kids to know for themselves as a person, they have to work hard because we need them to avoid feeling persecuted and using their voice. Because remember, what is it trying to give them, family? A foundation of greatness. Yes. So we are going to close the show with a moment in reclaiming our power. Yes, we're going to close the show by reclaiming our power. Our power. Power. Our power. Okay? That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. So, what we're going to do, talk about somebody that has used their power to do. I'm going to read this. We're going to be talking about King Mansa Musa. Okay? So, King Mansa Musa, he made a pilgrimage. And I'm just picking things out, so I'm not. And he was so abundant in his wealth that he founded the Mandingo Empire of Mali. He helped build up a lot of West Africa during 1337. And he had so much money that he had, and this is something that they calculated recently, you can go and research it, twice as much money as Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. So the man was rich, like rich, so wealthy. Even to this day, parts of Egypt tell stories about King Mansa Musa because he gave them so much money when he made his pilgrimage to Mecca that he bankrupted the economy there for nearly the price of gold went down so much because they had so much gold for almost 10 years. 10 years, that's how much one man had that he gave to someone. So that's how much wealth he had. And then he helped build up Timbuktu, which is a real place that was amazing for its scholarly work. Amazing. And he had architects, he had writers, he shared the arts, and he did a lot of architecture. And the reason why we're talking about him is because he is an example of someone really, truly being and giving. And at the end of the day, y'all, that's what we want for our kid. That's what we want for them. We want them to know they're loved, right? And the way that they know that they're loved is if we give them tools for them to own their power, right? Our power, that's what we want them to know. We want to kind of get rid of these whole feelings that Jim Crow put in us about parenting, right? This whole dismissive attitude and this whole idea of what it really means to be present in the moment and to tell them that they need to stop working harder than a certain race and that they just need to work hard, period. Okay? We want them to use so they don't feel these feelings of persecution. And when injustices happen, they speak up. They stand up. That's what we want. That's what we want. Because remember, successful, and we want to really feel like they can do what they want. Thank you so much. It's time to get up. Say bye.
Bye. So, yun down.